Hello everyone, I like to start off with a quote. Most picture you're about to witness may startle you. It would not have been possible otherwise to sufficiently emphasize the frightful toll of the new drug menace destroying the youth of America today in an alarmingly increasing number. That drug, boom, marijuana. Now, as humans, we're all predisposed with the ability to speak. With it, we can start a war or we can say I love you. With it, we are able to spread ideas, escape skepticism, and create critical thinking, which in turn can restart this whole cycle. So, as humans, we have the ability to make not just noise, but we're able to communicate ideas that in turn affect our beliefs, perceptions, and which can do much more than that, which can move us individually and as a group. So, for the past 80 years, through radio, public speeches, cinema, we have all been able to communicate this idea of marijuana for what it was thought to be. In the 1960s, or in 1936, reefer madness communicated the quote that I said earlier. It said to everyone that marijuana is to be feared, that you should not mess with it. It was almost like forbidden fruit. In June 18, 1971, Richard Nixon communicated to everyone in his famous speech that public enemy number one in the United States is drug abuse. And then in the 1980s, Nancy Reagan, with her Just Say No campaign, simply asked Americans to condemn drugs like marijuana. It was at the end of the 1980s that we saw that support for marijuana was at an all-time low of 16%, as you can see here. But it was at the end of the same era we saw two changes. For one, we saw that there was a change in how people started taking their information. Instead of taking President Nixon's or Nancy Reagan's or movies or our moms, our parents, or friends' words and just accepted them, we started looking for substantial evidence to actually support the claims of marijuana that were being made. So, in a word, there was a shift, a change. People, instead of just accepting words, we looked for textual evidence. In the year 1990, we saw that there was a change. Scientific evidence had discovered that there was endocannabinoid receptors in our own brain. Essentially, it created a suggestion that our brain, body, and mind thrives on cannabis and cannabis-like substances. Essentially, the animal was provided to find the smoking gun. Smoking. Okay. So, the smoking gun was found, essentially. So, after that, we can see that this suggestion took on the form of civic engagement, which in turn turned into actual tangible legislation, essentially tangible text that we can all see. So, a year later, after the scientific discovery, we actually saw in San Francisco there was a medical marijuana initiative, which was spearheaded by this man, Dennis Perrin. So, Dennis Perrin spearheaded an initiative which in the end was passed. Again, so I'm just going to power through. So, that's really good. Okay, so we're going to go, okay. So he spearheads this medical marijuana initiative in San Francisco. And we can see that two things actually stand out. One, the nature of what an initiative is, which is when a minimum number of registered voters sign a petition can force a public vote. And two, we see that this is the first step in a novel progress in the legislative world for marijuana. So, like same-sex marriage, it begins with individual states to actually work up and create further change. The medical marijuana initiative wasn't evidence of a paradigm shift itself. It facilitated a way to gauge the amount of people that supported the paradigm shifts. So in a way, we see that the initiative was just a way to see how public opinion has actually changed. So, and in the end, we saw that San Francisco actually supported it by 79%, which is fairly overwhelming. So, in the past, we see different trends. We see that when civic artifacts such as reefer madness or scientific discoveries, we can see that they move our perceptions, and then in turn those perceptions can change into tangible text, such as legislation. Following the reefer madness, we saw that there was a creation of the Marijuana Tax Act Law of 1937. And then we see here recently that there was Proposition P, which was the medical marijuana initiative in San Francisco. Right now we are in a trend. The world of cannabis is being changed, and as of right now, we see that 23 states have some sort of legal marijuana program. And it's not a trend that's exclusive to the United States either. More than 7 countries outside of our borders actually have some sort of legal marijuana program as well. So, when you guys look at marijuana, I want you to think to yourselves, not to think of what your friends or what your parents have told you about it, but to look for it for yourself, to know for yourself why exactly, how you come to this idea or notion of marijuana by yourself. Thank you.